Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review.
6 scoundrels had gathered. Captain Hook was plotting his revenge. Jafar envisioned ruling unopposed. Maleficent smiled at the thought of thorns engulfing the kingdom. Prince John was devising new taxes to fill his coffers. The Queen of Hearts brooded over the next decree of decapitation, while Ursula lounged with a sly grin, imagining helpless souls entangled in her tentacles. Each was driven to prove their wickedness and become the evilest. Disney Villainous, The Worst Takes It All, by Aaron Dono, Brian Kirk, and Prospero Hall from Ravensburger. I don't know how many of you have ever watched a Disney film and secretly hoped that the villain would come out victorious and show those silly do-gooders how it's done. But now you can openly play the role of your favorite villain and change the ending of your favorite fairy tale story. Yes, in Disney Villainous, for short, you take on the role of Captain Hook, Jafar, Maleficent, the Queen of Hearts, or Ursula, and change your arch-enemy's destiny for the worse. Don't expect a one versus many game though, where one of you is the baddie and the rest try and stop you. No, all of you are evil schemers and tricksters hoping to be the first to fulfill your goal and show the rest who is the worst villain of them all. That in itself makes Disney Villainous an interesting game. It flips the well-trodden out idea of being on the side of good in its head. Here is a game where you can be an infamously famous baddie and live out your darkest thoughts. Well, within reason that is. We're talking about Disney after all. It's all very family friendly. However dark it might get, it's still all completely PG. In fact, while the rules do take a little time to digest, the game is actually pretty straightforward. You can easily play it with all the family. So if your kids always rooted for Captain Hook and wished you would be able to put an end to Peter Pan's shenanigans and nasty tricks, now they can. If they always thought that the Little Mermaid was a little bit too self-obsessed and wished Ursula would get her own way and succeed in her malicious plans, Disney Villainous lets them do just that. While every character has different goals and different player boards, everyone's turn order is the same, and everyone chooses from pretty much the same actions. You just need to learn what the symbols mean and how the different actions function, but that doesn't take too long and everyone gets a really helpful player aid, so you can quickly look up anything you may have forgotten. The real challenge in Disney Villainous is learning how to get the best out of your chosen character. You need to learn your deck and understand how your player board's arrangement of actions lets you play the cards you need to complete your goal before everyone else. On your turn, you move your pawn to a different location on your player board and carry out any of the actions available there in any order you like. Actions allow you to play cards, gain power, which is the main resource in the game, activate a card you previously played, move cards around and do all sorts of other things. The way Disney Villainous plays reminds me very much of Root. Everyone has different goals, different cards and a different player board, but everyone has the same actions. From the outside it does feel like everyone is doing the same thing on the turn. Like Root, it all is a bit overwhelming at first, but once you're about halfway through your first game, it will click. Also like Root, as soon as you feel you know what you're doing, you need to start looking at what your opponents are up to. Some of them will probably be close to reaching their goal and winning the game. So it's time for you to show how awfully wicked you are and throw a big spanner in their works. The spanner in Disney Villainous is Fating. Fating is an action on your player board that allows you to play a fate card on a location on an opponent's player board. That not only makes some of the actions at that location unavailable, but also forces your opponent to take extra actions to get rid of the fate card. It slows them down, hopefully giving you the extra time you need to complete your own goal and snatch a victory from right under their nose. There is no rest for the wicked though. If you're not careful, you may stop one player from winning just to give another player the extra turn they need to finish their goal on their turn. So be careful and choose your fate action wisely. The turn has to come back around to you if you want to win. If someone else gets there before you, you will lose, even if you were only one action away from finishing your own goal and taking victory. That's where Disney Villainous really comes to life. It's the oath effect. You know you can get everything done this turn to be able to win the game when the round comes back to you, but you can also see that another player will win on their next turn. So you need to do whatever it takes to stop them, even if it messes everything up for yourself. Yet, by successfully stopping the other player, a third villain may be able to reach their goal instead. Like a dragon chasing its own tail in a vain attempt to eat itself whole, the spanner is handed to the next player, whose victory was just snatched away by you. They have to stop the third player, who themselves will have to stop you. So, while Disney Villainous starts pretty normal, with everyone trying to cycle through the decks to get the cards they need and to build up their engine, at some point everything changes. It becomes less about winning and more about not losing. It becomes about stopping another player. That's when the table talk starts, plans are hatched together, and temporary alliances are formed. That's when the game becomes really lively and exciting. You can feel how the stories that every player has created with the character up to now reach their climax. Even though everyone's storyline is a separate thread, and Disney Villainous feels very much like a multiplayer solitaire game for the first half, everything suddenly becomes very agitated and mean. Everyone's villain comes to the fore and shows their glinting teeth, sharp claws, pointy hooks, or evil spells. It's as if the different Disney universes have merged. I really like how the game allows you to play as your favorite villain and go about your own business, as the character would do in the respective film, until everything comes to head and all the film projectors overlap and the characters jump at each other's throats. So, if you're curious how the story would go if Captain Hook finally defeated Peter Pan, but the Queen of Hearts succeeded in taking off Alice's head, then give Disney Villainous a go. It might take a little while to learn the game, but you will be rewarded with a rich storytelling game of slitting each other's throats, becoming the most villainous of villains.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars, or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.